Going on, everybody? It's Key Time coming back with another one to talk about the NBA playoffs from this weekend and my reactions to all of the games that happened over the weekend. I'm about to get into the first one, but it's Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Now, let me get into the first game. The first game of the weekend was Friday night. The LA Clippers versus the Dallas Mavericks. Now, when it comes to both of these teams, they are pretty much the same exact. They play the same exact style, and they have the same exact players that could take over. But I knew that the Dallas Mavericks was going to win in Game 6 because of Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic, he had a good game. He had 28 points, and Kyrie Irving had 30 points. Not to mention the bench production for the Dallas Mavericks was very critical in this game. It really was. Now with the Dallas Mavericks, they advanced to the second round and they played the Oklahoma City Thunder. The only the only trepidation I have with OKC is they're the second youngest team in the NBA. They haven't really had playoff experience to this magnitude since they are the team with the best record in the Western Conference Finals and they have home court advantage throughout the Western Conference Finals. The pressure is on them to close every team out so they can make it to the NBA Finals. But do I see them making the NBA Finals? That's a whole different story. I'm not going to get into that. But as far as the Clippers concerned, Clippers, this is another year of disappointment. I mean, Paul George had 18 points. James Harden had 16 points. Terrence Mann had 14. Norman Powell had 20. And you've gotten to it. It's been 4 straight years of underachieving success for Steve Ballmer. And also, I heard some breaking news over the weekend that Kawhi Leonard, he wants to get traded from the LA Clippers. His trade destinations are the Lakers, the Raptors, or the Spurs. No, excuse me. The Lakers, Raptors, or Warriors. Thank you. Thank you. The Warriors is the third team. So, with the LA Clippers, I believe that they are just a team that's all hype and no action because it's been like that for the last, I would say, for the last 5, 6 years. They've been all hype but no action. This even transpired during the Blake Griffin, Chris Paul years. All hype but no action. So the Clippers they are not going home. They are going to Inglewood, California, and they will have a new arena come October called the Intuit Dome. So they have a new place that they can call home. That is the only thing. That's the only good news that the Clippers have coming out of this series with the Dallas Mavericks. Now on to the next series that I want to talk about. This is the conference semifinals versus the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. Minnesota, they are a team to be reckoned with. I mean, did anybody see Minnesota? I mean, Anthony Edwards, that man, I don't even have to get into what he did. He had 43 points, a playoff career high, and he is only in his fourth season. And also, Karl Anthony Towns with 20. Also, Jaden McDaniels, even though he didn't have any points in Saturday's game, he was a great defender. He was a great defender. And also Mike Conley Jr., Mike Conley Jr., he's been in the NBA for over 15 years, and he is still putting up his normal 15 to 20 points. Now, one thing I could say about Denver Nuggets, the Denver Nuggets, we all know that they have Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. He basically damn near hits every three. He has never took a shot that he didn't like. That is exactly how, with Michael Porter Jr., it has just been hot shooting from him throughout these playoffs. And you see Jamal Murray, even though he's not 100%, you still bring in, I believe what the Denver Nuggets should do is bring Reggie Jackson in the game for like the first three and a half quarters, and then late in the fourth quarter, let Murray bring the Nuggets home when it comes to like the last 3 or 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. Let him bring the Nuggets home, because when it comes to the Minnesota Timberwolves, I seen it. They were basically cutting the Nuggets up on that pick and roll. You got Anthony Edwards being ball dominant, bringing the ball up the floor. Then the double team comes to him, and then he just throw it to Karl Anthony Towns, and he makes the shot. That pick and roll, if they don't find something to stop Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns with that pick and roll for Minnesota, Denver, they are going to be in trouble. Now, I don't like to over exaggerate things after one game, but if you Denver, you can't lose game 2, which is tonight. Game 2 is tonight at 10 o'clock for anybody, and it's going to be on TNT and True TV. So make sure, set your clocks and everything, make sure everything is set up, because game 2 is tonight. It's going to be a good game. But now back to what I was saying. If you are Denver, you can't lose game 2 tonight on your home floor, going to Minnesota for games 3 and 4, because if Minnesota wins tonight's game, I'm not going to say that the champ is out, but basically it seems like this series might be over in a sweep if the Minnesota Timberwolves win tonight. As far as the Denver Nuggets, they already know what they have to do tonight. Defend home court, try and get games 3 or 4 in Minnesota, and then come back and win this thing. I know this might go to full 7 games, and it is going to go to full 7 games. So at least get one on Minnesota's home floor. That way your work is cut out for you. But Minnesota Timberwolves, this will not be an easy series for the Denver Nuggets. It will not be a easy series for the Denver Nuggets. They are going to have to fight tooth and nail. This is going to be rough, and it is going to be tough and rugged. This is going to be the most physical 7-game series in all of the playoffs, I think. This series is going to be physical. Now, the next series I want to talk about is Game 7, Orlando Magic and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, one thing about it, I said that the Orlando Magic would lose this series, and they did, but they had a decisive effort yesterday. They were up 18 in the first half, and nothing was going for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But like I said, what made Cleveland have the momentum is they were down by 18, and with under 3 minutes left in the first half, all of a sudden they go on a 10-2 run, and then all of a sudden at halftime they are down 10 points. And then in the third quarter, the Orlando Magic, they only made 3 3-pointers in the third quarter, not to mention from their bench production was basically non-existent. In the games that the Orlando Magic won in this series, the bench rather, averaged 25 points per game. As far as the Orlando Magic, they are going to be a team that is a force to be reckoned with. This is just a learning experience. I expect them to make the playoffs next season and possibly win a series or two. Who knows? But that's all I have for the Magic. Now, as far as the Cleveland Cavaliers, you got some Game 7 redemption from last year, losing Game 7 to the New York Knicks. Now, Cleveland plays Boston. I think Boston is going to win that series, and I'm going to say 7 games. I'm going to be generous because I don't want to say that this is going to be a gentleman's sweep, because we know the Boston Celtics, some games they can be 3-point happy and miss most of their threes. So I'm going to say Boston in 7. Maybe a little bit earlier, but I'm going to say the Celtics, I got them winning this series in 7 games. And for the next series I want to talk about, we got a good one, a rivalry series tonight. The Indiana Pacers and the almighty New York Knicks. Now, with this matchup right here, you have the best offense in the NBA and a top 5 defense in the NBA. I'm going with the New York Knicks. I'm going with the New York Knicks in this series because what the New York Knicks need to do is use some tactics that the Milwaukee Bucks did when they won those couple of games in the previous series. Double Tyrese Halliburton, because you know that is the best guy on the Pacers roster. Double Tyrese Halliburton and make those other guys beat you. Make Pascal Siakam. If Pascal Siakam make, let's say, 14 out of 20 shots for 35 points and the Pacers still win, okay, Tyrese Halliburton didn't beat you. But that is where the New York Knicks are going to win this series. Make Tyrese Halliburton, make him be a facilitator. Do not let him be a scorer, because we all know that he can score 30 to 35 points just like that. And for Jalen Brunson, best player on the New York Knicks. Josh Hart, he is going to have to step up. And also, both benches are going to have to step up this series. But I got the New York Knicks in 7 games in this series. Now, the next series I want to talk about, this is Game 2. Game 2 of the Western Conference semifinals between the Minnesota Timberwolves and Denver Nuggets. Tonight's game is a critical game. Tonight's game, as far as what time it starts at 10 o'clock. And this is Game 2 of the Minnesota Timberwolves and Denver Nuggets series. Now, Game 2 is very critical. I expect for Denver to come out and defend home court, and Game 3 will be later on this week, and this series will be tied after tonight's game. But it is very critical because Denver, they've had some slip-ups versus Minnesota in the regular season. But just like I said, when it comes to a 7-game series, when you get to the 7th game, it's a matter of can you stop what the team is best at, because all the X's and O's and stats and everything else, it goes out the window. Now, like I always say, Game 1 is a fill-out game, because you have in a 7-game series, Game 1 is a fill-out game. Game 2 is a must-win game for if the home team loses Game 1. So for Denver tonight, I'm not going to say it's a must win, but you want to be going to Minnesota even at 1 game apiece instead of being down 2. And then you know the type of arena that Minnesota has. We already know what they did to the Phoenix Suns in the previous series, but that series, it started them off at home. They had the first 2 games in Minnesota, came to Phoenix, and then swept Phoenix off of their home floor. So for the New York Knicks, tonight is critical. Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, Reggie Jackson, Michael Porter Jr., and the entire bench has to show up and show out in order to win this game, because you know that from the Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards is coming. Rudy Gobert, he is strictly there for defense. Karl Anthony Towns, Jaden McDaniels, he is going to have a better game than he had in game 1. So if you the Denver Nuggets, go on and win this game tonight and even this series up at 1 game apiece. And with that, those are my reactions. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction video shows, content, and etc. And with that, I only have one other thing to say. Remember, the key is always on time. See y'all tomorrow.